All right, today we're going to show you some guitar chords that is going to make it seem like you're an incredibly deep and educated musical thinker, when really you're just kind of tired and you learned 3 simple chord voicings. But we're going to start in the key of E. All right, we're using the key of E because this is sponsored by Enya guitars. I'm rocking the Inspire guitar today, which we'll talk more about later. But let's start off with the very, very simple E major chord. Open E, 2 A, 2 D, 1 G, open B, open E. How easy is that, right? Got a little bit of overdrive on here just because it's actually built in to the effects right here. But yeah, the first thing that we can do to make this sound super classy is I'm just gonna take my ring finger, move it up a string, and then my middle finger and pointer finger are gonna grab the first fret on the D and G strings respectively. So this turns it into an E major 7 chord voicing. All right, so open E, 2A, 1 D, 1 G, open B, and open E. So that first fret on the D string is really the only thing that I changed here, and that's turning an E into a D sharp. Now in the E major scale, D sharp is the 7th note, so it's E major 7. We're gonna do a couple bonus chord voicings. What I like to do here is go from here to here. So now my ring finger has traveled the length of the A string to the 7th fret, okay? And then now my middle finger is already one fret apart from where my ring finger is. So let's just kind of keep it that distance, but go to the D string. And then now my pinky is on the G string 8th fret. So open 7, 6, 8, and you can still keep the top open. That's just E major 7 to E major 7, which is way different than just staying on an E major. In fact, you can use it to replace anything. E. Just by doing that one thing. Bonus chord voicing, if you want to go even deeper and even more tired, you have your pinky grab the high E string, 2nd fret, and now is adding an F sharp. Now where is F sharp in the key of E? It's the 2nd note, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the octave is 1 again. Now we're putting this on top of the chord, and because we already have the rest of the chord built, even though it's the 2nd note, it's around the octave to the 9th note. The 9th note and the 2nd note are the same note music theory-wise. You don't even have to know that or remember that. Just remember that it sounds good in context, and it's easy to find the 9th note in any key because it's just the 2nd note. So we're adding that F sharp on top to make it E major 9. So now we can really get crazy. We can go E, E major 7, E major 9, another E major 7. I think 9s are cool when you kind of sprinkle them in like that, right? Now the next chord we're gonna get to make it sound classy is gonna be in the same vein, okay? We're gonna do this in a way that you can use all as one chord progression. So I've got in the key of E, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. My next major chord is gonna be A major, okay? So, we already know A major, open A, 2, 2, 2, open. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add my pinky to the 4th fret of the G string. Now, what have I done here? I've taken the 2nd note on the G string, which is an A, right? It's just the octave A, and I've added a B, okay? Now, you could be like, all right, well, I can also add a B just by opening up the B string. And that's definitely a vibe. What we've done here is we've replaced a C sharp with a B. So now this is gonna be an A suspended too because we lost our C sharp. So we've lost what makes this chord major or minor. And again, that sounds great. You can use that to sound deep. But the nice thing about this one is we've taken an A, which we already have an A, an open A. So we're not suspending the C sharp anymore. We're actually adding the 9th note in the key. So that's the difference between A sus2, because we replaced the 3rd, and A add 9, because we're adding the 9th note to a chord where everything else is already established, right? So now we can add this to our chord progression. We go E, maybe to A, 9, E, 9, A. Now one kind of bonus chord voicing for this is really what we just did is we added a B to an A major chord, right? One really easy way to do this that I use a lot in my own playing is I'll take an A major bar chord, like a triad. I'm just barring the 5th fret, 5, 7, 7, 6, 5, 5. And then I'll just open the top of it. So now I have an open B and E on top of that A chord. And I think that sounds really cool, like E. To add that A major chord and B major chords, this is like a 1, 4, 5. Or you and these are just really simple. Simple little things you can do that'll make your playing sound, I think, a lot more sophisticated, which is the goal of this video. Also, just an excuse to bust out the Enya Inspire. Because it's purple, who doesn't love a good purple guitar? This thing is awesome. Like I said, it has a built-in speaker. I did a demo kind of unboxing if you want to go through all the features of this. But basically, it's really cool. It's got a 5-way switch that you can kind of use as a regular guitar, just going 1/4 inch out like I'm going into my laptop right now. Or you can actually unplug the whole thing and then just use the built-in speaker, which I've done in my other videos. So I'll link you to those if you guys are interested in learning more about that. But this is a really inexpensive guitar that I think has like a lot of cool utility. You can just keep it in the guitar. It's got, you know, like an interesting, super cool build that's not gonna like warp or melt in a car. So cool travel guitar. So let's make one more chord, and let's make this a little spicier in relation to the other ones. Okay, this is going to be a C major-ish chord. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing the C on the 3rd fret of the A string. I'm going to get open G, 3 on the B string, and 3 on the high E string. So I have a C note. I'm going to skip this D note right here. I'm just going to kind of mute it with my middle finger. So C and G, and D and G. So again, it's a C major chord without an E and a D in its place. So what that makes is, again, D is the 2nd note, a C suspended 2. So it's in the same vibe as the other chords. But I think it sounds really cool as a replacement for a C major chord, especially in the context of using it in this key. Now, like I said, in the key of E, we have E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. Nary a C note to be found, but what if we added this chord to that progression? Let's hear how it sounds. E. Again, that's like a really simple thing that you could do right off the bat. With, again, I do think that A major, that reach right there with your pinky, is kind of the hardest one of the whole bunch. But if you just think of it as a power chord, and then, you know, getting that C sharp is optional, you could just double down on an open B string to kind of get it open. You've done like a lot of cool different things, and really, it was super easy and you learned it and you've been inspired and now people will think you're deep, but the only way that you get deeper is by getting a deep purple guitar with my affiliate link in the description. Thank you to Enya for sponsoring the video. If you have any questions or comments, hit me in the comments section, Instagram or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.